Guys, I am so excited about this keyboard. Wow. Like, just look at these modules. No. A removable F-row? Wow. Unlimited possibility. Oh no. This is the TMICE Modular Keyboard. Let's just put a really big asterisk next to the word modular as I go through this unboxing. Because theoretically, each of these little boxes is an expansion to your keyboard. But why would you want an expansion to your keyboard? Well, let's find out. Now, full disclosure, this keyboard was sent to me for free by TMICE. However, this video is not sponsored and they did not review this video. You might notice, this is a basic looking 65% keyboard. And the unboxing is pretty bare bones as well with just a cable. Wait, that's seriously it? Okay. It costs $99 US, which actually makes it pretty competitive considering it's a nice mix of aluminum and potentially this frosted acrylic bottom. Ooh, your feet pop off. My feet pop off if I post it on Only Feet, I guess. And ooh, there's these little modules on the sides making me think that you could theoretically attach something to every single side of it. And that's what makes this keyboard pretty interesting because while it does have these really nice flat keycaps and a relatively fine tray mount case that kind of is reminiscent of a Tofu from 2020, if you're new to keyboards, that means it's acceptable but not great, especially considering a lot of keyboard cases nowadays are very, very premium and offer a little bit more excitement. Now, if we take a closer look at these keycaps, they're really thick. They're pretty nice profile. They've got a good texture to them. They also, hold on, I'll just spoil it right away. Why not? It sounds and feels really good, which had me super excited for this board. But you might remember from the intro, I said I was not that excited. And that's because it just kind of gets worse from here. Because while this keyboard itself is $99, you start to add in things, you start to add up a lot of costs. The moment you add this, you've added another $35. And let's take a look. This is the separate F-row because TMICE has made a modular-ish keyboard here. And I say modular-ish because the F-row goes up top. Now, congratulations, you just paid $35 more for a 75% keyboard. They managed to sell you extra keyboard, when in reality, for about $100, you could buy just a 75% keyboard. But okay, maybe that's unfair because what they're offering here is the modules, and I will say, they're very nice. Like that really quick, satisfying magnetic snap, the fact that your board does just effortlessly expand, or maybe, oh, I need a little bit more desk space. Oh, I need to go into the office and I don't need an F-row. That is a cool thing. That's objectively cool. The modules are cool, but then you begin to type on it and you put pressure on the top row and your board starts to tilt like crazy. There's one strike. Now, on top of that, this keyboard originally ran as a Kickstarter. And if there's one thing you know about Kickstarters, is that they rarely go correct. And this one is kind of no different. For the most part, what I think is a decent fulfillment. But then you look at the comments and it's everyone being like, we haven't gotten our keyboard yet, which left me wondering, like, why are they selling this on their website yet? Granted, those comments were for a couple months ago. And if TMICE does respond, I will put their comment on screen, right there, because they didn't respond as I'm making this video. So the first module, you're paying $35 for an F-row. It's built with the same quality of the keyboard itself, and that's nice, except your F-row is literally just F keys, like that's F13, F14, F15, F16, which could be kind of annoying if you wanted it to just be like, give me home and delete. You can rebind them all in the software, which I'll talk about more later because I've got quite a bit to say about that. You also might notice there's just one cable, and none of these modules come with separate cables, which has me wondering, will they even work on their own? But here's where it gets really exciting because all of you keep commenting, Hipyo, I need numpads, numpad Hipyo. So I've been trying to work numpads into every single video I possibly make to make you happy. You'll never be happy. It's not because of the numpads. Anyways, I've got a numpad. It's modular, right? That means I can put it on my keyboard. That's really cool. Let me just open up this box. I'm so excited. Also, this numpad costs $34.99, by the way, which is actually a pretty decent deal for a separate numpad, especially considering this thing is made out of metal and the nice bottom frosted thing. Say, why is there a connector on only one side? So then, why Why is there also most of my numpad missing? This is weird, and it left a weird taste in my mouth because you're advertising this keyboard as modular. Your catchphrase is limited keys, unlimited possibilities. I'm starting to think you've got super limited keys and pretty darn limited possibilities, because I can put this numpad on the right side of my keyboard. You know where else I can put this numpad? Nowhere else. Literally, if you're a left-handed, you can't put it over here. Like theoretically, you could put it up here, but then how are you gonna charge your keyboard or plug it in? You can't put it here. You can't flip it upside down. That would make no sense. The right side only. You can only put the numpad on the right side, which is just, why make a modular system if you can't make it modular? Also weird is that you've got your separate F-row. And keep in mind, they sell this whole thing as a bundle for 269 bucks, or theoretically 216 with the code Hipyo20, but I don't know that I recommend you use the code Hipyo20 because we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But if you buy the full bundle and you're excited to use your numpad, well, why not just include this part of the numpad? Like, my keyboard is missing. And honestly, if you're using the F-row, the modules start to look pretty ugly. Oh, yikes. That's janky. And here's where it kind of gets a little bit depressing, as if it already wasn't already a little bit depressing. This macro pad, I was so excited about, because I'm like, oh my God, it's like a little stream deck that you can attach to your keyboard. That's so sick. And maybe I won't use it attached to my keyboard and I'll just have it plugged in because it's just a cool little thing. And maybe I don't want to use this keyboard all the time. It's 99 bucks. Fine, that's expensive. I was expecting it to be quite a bit cheaper. I mean, as part of the whole bundle, that's basically half of the cost. And it looks really, really nice. It's got a nice knob. The knob feels incredibly clicky and satisfying. It's got a little press in. It's got these 6 little reprogrammable buttons that we'll talk about a little bit more with the software. And you also might notice it's got one side to it that you can plug in to your keyboard. Now, all of these modules are neat, but they're not modular. Like, this is just a detachable thing. There's no module, period. I can't plug it in over here. I can't plug it in over here. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But that's not even the worst part, because you remember how earlier I mentioned, there's only one cable. That's a little bit weird. At first I was like, that's fine. If I want to use this separately, I'll just plug it into the one cable, which has a little magnetic clasp thing. I'll plug that into my computer. We're all good. Except guess what? None of these modules work without the core keyboard. So you can't use any of them separately. This is entirely useless without the base keyboard, which I feel like if all of these modules were entirely separate, that would be like the coolest ecosystem, which is what I thought it was. That is why I was like, hey guys, yeah, send me the keyboard. That sounds so cool. But it's not. And what's worse is that if you bought these, odds are you probably thought that might be what was happening, because unlimited possibilities, that's their catchphrase. But boy, are these possibilities limited. Now that's not even where it gets the worst though, because remember how I mentioned you can rebind this with software. Well, they have their own TMICE software, and the software experience was slow, clunky. It worked. I was able to bind apps to this thing. It did launch my apps, but then I noticed some funny, weird issues where this magnetic cable is really, really bad. Like, you have it plugged in and it wiggles just a little bit, right? That's no big deal. Except if it wiggles, you drop connection. If your cat bumps it, you drop connection. If your cat jumps on your desk and vibrates your desk, you drop connection. And that's like a little bit annoying. If I was gaming, that's very annoying. But then so much worse is that your macro pad has to reboot. So it takes like 5 to 10 seconds before it starts fully functioning again. But ultimately, it just fell off. It was attached that weekly. This thing kind of sucks. That's my video. What do you think? Is this worth your money? Buy it. Please subscribe.